Hi, I'm Donna Jordan from Jordan Fabrics. You may have seen our tutorial on the Lone Star quilt. We made this some time ago, and it makes a nice big quilt, and it's made with cut diamonds. We've had a number of requests for how to make a Lone Star with 2.5-inch strips from a jelly roll, and how to make one a little bit smaller, because this is a great big quilt. So I've been working on the math here, and I think I've got it all figured out. And we are going to go over to the store and pick out some really fun fabric combinations. I'm going to need 5 different prints for the star. Then I'm going to need to pick a background. Now Matt is going to pick out his own combination, so he's down there picking some other colors. And this way we can make 2 different color combinations, and you can see the star made up 2 different ways. The 5 fabrics I need to pick out need to be different in color. So I don't want to have 5 dark browns, even if they looked really good together, because the star would not show up very much. So I really like this group right here. So we have a rusty brown, a brown with a little print, and I think I'll do this gold either right in the center or at the very far tip. And this one, and I think this one. So I think these 5 will look really good, and I'll arrange them in a nice order, and then we'll cut our strips out of these.
Hi everyone. Donna asked me to pick out some fabrics for a little star wall hanging she's doing. And recently I have been working with, and I'm going to cut out 2.5-inch strip sets in the deep reds and blacks, rusty tones with some cream. And when she asked me to do that, I was still attracted to these, and I picked out these 5 here. She told me she wanted me to pick out 5 fabrics. I really like this group. I think it'll look good in a star. You can see how the black backgrounds pick up the little rusty, deep red colors. I really like these colors together. So this is what I've picked out, and I look forward to seeing how this turns out. There's another color combination that I always enjoy working with, and that's the red, white, and blue Americana colors. And in a star, it's very appropriate to use Americana colors, and I really, with what I have in stock, I'm a little short right now, but I really like these 5 for that star that we're going to do. So I've picked these out, and I'm going to add that to my stash and see what Donna came up with.
I didn't know that Matt was going to pick out a second color combination, so I've picked another one also. We have this really fun group of prints. They're cheerful. They're called Biscuits and Gravy. So I've picked out these 5 here. I think that will make a really happy star, and this can be the background. So we're going to take all the prints we picked out over to the workroom. We'll get them cut, and then we'll show you how to sew them together. I've made a little sketch of the patchwork part of the star here. So we've got fabric A in the very center, B, C, D, E. So we're going to have a lot more of fabric C. We're going to have to pick that print for something we like a lot. And so I've got this one here for fabric C, because there's a lot more of it. You might want to take a picture of your fabrics in order. So I like to take a picture on my phone here, so that even if I move them around when I'm cutting, I'll know what's where. You can also use these sticky notes, and then you can just mark them. We've got A, B, C, and then that way it'll help you remember what goes where. Or you can even write down fabric A is the darkest brown, fabric B is the rust, something so that you can remember what order you want to do them in. These are all going to get cut into 2.5-inch strips. So from fabric A, we only need 1 strip. B, 2 strips, C, 3 strips, D, 2 strips, and E, 1 strip. So I'm going to pass this on to Matt, and he will accurately cut those strips out for us. Here's all of the strips, and we have to make them into strip units. So following my little sketch here, we're going to make one that has an A, a B, and a C. So I've written it out here. So I need an A, a B, and a C. So here's an A, B, C, and I'm going to fold those up. I'm going to stitch that together. Then we need a B, a C, and a D. That's for the middle section here. So we need a B, a C, and a D. I'm going to fold that up. We'll stitch those together. Then we need a C, a D, E, which is these ones here. So we just have to take these three guys and make 3 strip units. Then we'll cut them up and stitch them back together, and you'll magically see that star coming to life. Now we're going to take our first folded up bundle here, and we want to sew these in this order. So doesn't really matter if you go right to left or left to right, it's going to come out the same either way. But I'm going to start with this guy, and I'm going to put this one on the right, and then we'll put the brown one to the right of that. So we're going to use a 1/4 inch seam, a fairly small stitch length because we're going to be cutting this after we sew it. So I like to use a pretty small stitch length so we have a lot of stitches in there. And then don't stretch any of them, just lay them right on top of themselves and stitch all the way along the edge. I'm going to finger press the seams to one side. It really helps with the ironing later on. So I'm just going to open it up a little bit, draw your fingernail or your fingertip right along that seam. Now this piece is going to go on the right here. Same procedure. I'm going to sew all the way down, finger press it, and then we will take it over to the ironing board. Let me show you how to iron this. We've already got it finger pressed, so you can feel that the seam allowances are all going the correct direction. So I'm going to smooth it out a little with my hands, and then I'm going to take a straight edge. I like to use the 4-foot metal ruler, and I am going to make sure that this is lined up along that edge, and that way I know that I've got it ironed nice and straight. Now we're going to take this right over to the cutting board, and we're going to go ahead and cut this up. So I'm going to fold it in half, and I'm going to put it on one of these diagonal lines here. And I'm going to put the edge, the cut edge, right along that line, and I'm going to make sure that one of these straight lines is beyond any selvages right here. So that's the 11-inch line there. Now, get the glasses. We're going to cut 2.5-inch pieces out of here. I'm lining up my plastic ruler straight with the lines that are on the cutting board. And I'm going to go ahead and cut this into 2.5-inch strips. So I'm just going to move this over 2.5 inches, keep it lined up nice and straight. So we can just get 4 of these from our strip that's folded in half. Now the nice thing about this is we are getting mirror image pieces here. And that means when we make our quilt, we are able to get the grains straight throughout the whole quilt. So we're going to take all of these face down ones and put them in a stack. And then we're going to take all of these face up ones and put them in a stack. And we're going to leave these separate, just like this. And I'm going to go ahead and sew my other 2 groups of strips and cut them exactly the same way. And then I'll show you how we can rearrange them to make the really nice Lone Star. Now we have all of the strips units cut. So we're going to take these ones off and put them over here. And then we've got these guys here. So we have 3 different strip units here. And we're going to stitch these up. And once we get them stitched, if I can turn it a little, you can see it's starting to make a row. So we've got, this is our A, that's the B, C, D, and E. So we have 4 diamonds we are going to make here. So we are only going to work with these strips right now. Then when we have those all stitched together, we're going to work with the other diamonds that are over here that are upside down. Now the reason it's important that some are upside down, some are right side up, if I just show you this real quick, this is a mirror image of these here. And that's helpful because we're going to be able to get our whole quilt to be on the straight grain when we're done, and none of it is going to be on the bias grain. So it's going to lay really, really nice and flat. Here are the 3 rows we have to sew together. So I'm going to start with these 2, and we're going to want to sew this together. So we're going to put them right sides together, and we are going to slide this one down so that when we make our 1/4 inch seam, it hits right in that intersection there. So you can't make them meet. You don't want to do it like this because then the seams won't, the intersections for the seams won't match. You need to slide this down so that a 1/4 inch from here hits that line right there. I'm not going to pin, I'm just going to carefully take this over to the machine and stitch it. Now right now this whole edge is biased, so you have to be careful that you don't stretch it as you sew. Now because we moved that down, when we open it up, we're going to get a nice straight line here. We will be ironing that also, but right now we're going to stitch this next piece on. So again, slide it down so that that's a 1/4 inch from that edge. To iron this, I like to iron the seam closed first. So I'm just going to iron that one flat, and I'm going to iron this one flat. Then I'm going to open them up carefully and not stretch it. Make sure the seam allowance is laying all to one side. Then give it a little steam, and I want this seam allowance also going the same way. So I just find it helpful to hand block it a little bit rather than just pressing with the iron. And that makes it nice and true to size and flat. So we're going to continue on. We're going to make the other 3 that are just like this. I think it's best if we trim off these dog ears here. You can use your rotary blade or you can just cut them with scissors. There's just a couple, but it will make the quilt lay much flatter. Now I'm going to show you how to lay out the other half of the diamonds. So this is a mirror image. So this strip is going to be just like that. And this one, it's kind of like a puzzle. This one's going to go down here. And this one is going to go like that. So you want to make sure that this half looks exactly like the mirror of that half, because it is possible to get your strips turned around, and although it's pretty, it's not going to give us the same effect as it will if we have all of these nice gold ones right in the middle. So we'll put that aside. Now we're going to sew the seams for these diamonds. I'm going to try to give you a better view of what we're matching here. So if we peel this back, we're hoping that those 2 lines will line up. So you can take a pin if you like. You can poke it through there, peel back a little and see if you've got it on the seam, and then make sure that you drive right over that spot when you're sewing, and that works pretty well. You can stick it in a little ways if you want, and then stop short and take the pin out. So I've found that just with experience, you get a good feel. I can feel those seams in there, and I know I'm going to want to stitch right there. But it does take a little practice. So when you first start, you may find, I'll show you what this looks like when we open it up. You may find that your seams are not matching up perfect. So let's see how close we got it. See, this one is almost perfect, and this one is almost perfect. But if it's not, you can take your stitching out and either move this down a little bit, or you may find that you need to stitch in a little farther or a little closer to the edge. This one is not perfect right here, but it's close enough for me. Here's where the star is getting kind of fun. And I've got this laid out with the gold in the middle, but you may decide that you want to put the brown in the middle. So let me give you a better view here, because we'll put those aside. You can lay out half the star just to see which way you think you would like it better. So there it is with the brown in the middle. Then we'll lay the other half out with the gold in the middle, and then we'll look and decide. Here it is with the gold in the middle, and this is really nice because it kind of radiates out like a sun, and this will make a really nice star in the middle. I also like this one because it's dark in the middle and then it goes out to the really bright tips. So you can pick. That's the nice thing about this pattern. You can lay them out and look at them for a while and decide, I really think I'm going to go with this with the gold in the middle. The only other thing we need to finish the star is the backgrounds. And I use triangles for the backgrounds so that I don't have to do any Y seams. So we have a 7 and a 9.5. And if you don't remember it, I'm going to make a download for this. So this is going to go here and here. And the big triangles are going to go here and here. So all we're going to do is take all of these diamonds and sew this on and this on. Then we'll do the same thing on that half, and then we'll just put them all together. To sew this on, we're going to take these 2 points and line them up here. And we're going to sew down here without stretching anything. It's really, really easy. Then we'll open it up and put the other corner on. So you probably should take this over and iron it at this point. I'm just going to finger press it just a little bit there so I can show you how to stitch this one on. So you want to now take this corner and match it up right here. And then I'm just going to flip the whole thing over so I can start at this end. And this side here, it's a straight grain, so it's not going to stretch. So now I've got the left and the right half here, and you could stitch it together here and make 4 of these, but it's a little bit easier to just move this one over here and make 4 of these, because now it looks like a quarter of the quilt. So we're going to stitch along here, and we're going to start at the point. And we are going to match up these seams as we go. It's pretty easy because you can peel that back and you can see right where to match. They're not going in different directions. So we're just going to stitch all along here and then do the same thing 3 more times. Then we'll have a whole star. These were so much fun to make. I literally could sit and sew these all day. So it turned out 32 inches. It's a great size for a wall hanging or a table topper. It took a 1/2 yard for the background, 1/3 of a yard here, 1/3 of a yard for the binding. They're all quilted with stars in the background. You can see them a little bit here. And you can really see them on Matt's Americana one here because I did a contrast color thread. This one is just beautiful.
I think they're all really pretty, Donna. But this particular pattern, I think, really shows off the beauty of the fabrics today. Yeah. All of these came out really nice. I really enjoy looking at them. A simple project, would you say?
Oh, very simple, sewed up really fast.
You can show off beautiful materials, really fun. I could see these on tables, on walls.
And where's that last one? Oh, yeah. We didn't get it quilted yet.
We didn't get it quilted yet, but this is the batik.
Love this one.
We picked out, and it's very cool too. I mean, you can really show off materials here and have a lot of fun with these, I think.
Thanks for watching our tutorial today on the Lone Star wall hanging or table topper. We hope you have a lot of fun making it.
Absolutely. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.